you are joining the community call of GENOA, where we invite communities, eco-villages around the Asia and Oceania region to come and share about what they are doing in different practices towards regeneration. So each call will be different because each call will have a different community sharing, and they might bring in different stories. They might have different strengths. Some are stronger in ecology dimension, some are stronger in economy or maybe social dimension. So we hope that this virtual online calls will be a learning hub for all of us and also a place of connection. Okay, so to start today, I would love to just share with you some quick update from the Global Eco-Village Network, just to keep everyone up to date with what's happening. And we'll start with some updates at the global level with Jen, and then we move to the regional level. So in the Eco-Village Network, every year we have this Hilda Jackson Award, which celebrate all the regeneration efforts of communities around the world. And every communities from any continents can apply. And last year and the year before, the finalists, the winner of the award were from our region in Oceania and Asia. And this year, Kufunda Village in Zimbabwe wins the award of 2022. And we have one initiative, which is Green Relief Initiative in the Philippines. We worked a lot with communities in disaster relief and permaculture. They are among the 10 finalists. So I would invite you to, if you are interested, to go on ecovillage.org and read more about the other finalists in this Hilda Jackson Award this year. And if you are from a community, you're very welcome to stay tuned for the award next year and then apply. So this is the first celebration news from Jen. And next I'm also happy to share with you that in Jen, we are running a project called Eco-Village Resilience Project. If we can go to the next slide. The Eco-Village Resilience Project, it's a very special project because this is the first time that we have GEN, Global Eco-Village Network, together with scientists and eco-villagers on the ground, working together on a 2 years project. We have selected 10 eco-villages from around the world, and 4 of them are from GENOA. And the eco-villages are gonna journey together with Jen for 18 months to explore the resilience and future of eco-villages together. It is an exploration of how we as a movement can scale our contributions, the different solutions that are being applied in eco-villages to build capacity and multiply robust community-led approach to a radical and grounded regeneration, looking into the future that there's gonna be for sure a lot of drastic changes in the world where global warming, ecological and social collapse are gonna be strengthened. You're gonna be seeing more and more evidences of it. So that's the Eco-Village Resilience Project. And here we have the name of 4 communities in GENOA that are joining. We have in India, Govardhan. From Australia, there's Narara, Earth Song from New Zealand, and Sundarban Eco-Village from Bangladesh. And we, of course, have a lot more active and amazing eco-villages in our network, but not all of them are joining the project this year. And we are also thinking of different ways to engage a bigger group of eco-village into this project as well. So that's another exciting project that are happening in Gen. Next, for GENOA, we are happy to share with you that we have finished the running of our second cohort in our regeneration program, which is an education program for whole system design. If you're familiar with the Eco-Village Design Education, EDE, then this is an online version, adapted online version of the EDE by GENOA. And we have just had a closing celebration last Saturday with a lot of love, music, songs, and sharing from different people, participants, facilitators, and speakers as well. And we are also looking into discussing with people around the region on how to adapt the regeneration program into different countries, different language, and especially seeing how we can do like hybrid program with in-person and online. Because we know now, as the world are opening, we also can start to have in-person gathering and in-person courses again, which is a great news. So we want to also share what we have with this online course, a lot of materials, a lot of learnings to anyone who are doing eco-village design education around the region. So that's Regeneration. And next we have our Healing Circle this month. So in case you don't know, I just want to catch you up that every month on full moon, GENOA would host a healing circle for 1 hour online, where we can come together, share our pain, our love, and also together cultivate a collective consciousness for inner regeneration and also global peace. So in this month, we're gonna welcome a team of practitioners from the Philippines called Alchemy of Sound, and they're gonna walk us through a journey of sacred sound. And details about this session, we're going to send through our different channels later. We are still finalizing some small things here and there together with the team from the Philippines. And we'll be in touch with everyone on our social media and newsletter about this. Later in the call, we'll also share with you how to subscribe to our newsletter as well. And then I think next slide would be my last update. About Dances of Universal Peace. I don't know if anyone have heard or have joined Dances of Universal Peace. If yes, please feel free to put in the chat to let us know. Dances of Universal Peace is a very special practice that incorporated music and movement from different religions and different traditions, cultures around the world, with the purpose of bringing people together in unity. And Dances of Universal Peace are very active and present in many parts of the world, like South America, North America, the Oceania region with Australia and New Zealand. And they're also starting to become stronger in Europe. And one of the teachers of Dance of Universal Peace, who is also from the Gen region of Latin America, from Casa Latina, Arjun, he's in Asia at the moment doing a tour sharing this practice in different countries. And he already did that in India and particularly in Auroville. And he's currently in Vietnam doing different workshops. And after that, he'll be going to Indonesia, Maldives, and Thailand. And I want to share with you here, particularly the one from Thailand, because we are going to make this an international camp at Gayashram, which is also an eco community in our network in Udon Thani, Thailand. So if you happen to be in Thailand around this time, we would love to invite you to join us, and we can also share about it later in the chat. And that concludes all of my my sharing and updates about Gen and GENOA today. If you have any questions at all, you can always put your question in the chat. And I can see that some of us have practiced Dance of Universal Peace with Arjun. Awesome. And we'd love to connect with you all on one of the activities that we have in the future. And for now, I'll just take a moment for everyone to just let all of that information sink in, because I know that I've just bombarded you with a lot of information about Gen and GENOA. And you can always just catch up with us on different channels to hear more about any of these updates. And this is something that is not in our updates officially, but some of you might know that in GENOA, we are running also a project called GENOA Metamorph, because we are also in an ever-changing situations in the world, but also in the Eco-Village network. And in GENOA, we are looking into how we should adapt and transform ourselves as a network and as the small team as an organization to support the network as well. And the first initial result of this project will be ready to share with you next month in November. So we'll be also hosting a few calls with the network to share about what we have learned from different communities in GENOA and how that will affect the direction of the global eco-village network in our region in the near futures, in the next few years. Just want to give you a heads up on that. All right, and with that said, I am complete with my updates. And thank you so much for your presence. And now I would love to pass the mic of the call today to our friends and speakers from Auroville Green Practices. We have today Pratul, Sneha, Auro Premi, and Devi. And you can see already they have just opened their cameras. You can see them on the screen. They're all sitting in Auroville at the moment. So really special for us to have you here today. We have been connecting and collaborating with AGP, Auroville Green Practices, for some time. And this is actually the first online call that we do together. So I'm really excited about it and really thankful for you guys for making the time and also preparing a lot of juicy content for us today. Okay, so I'll pass back to Sneha and Pratu now.
Thank you so much, Thao. Thank you so much for introducing us. And it's a pleasure to be a part of this call and like give you a bit of an update about what is Auroville and like how we think about it. And also we wanted to tell you about Arjun. Like he was here last week and we had such an amazing time with him. I personally attended the workshop. And yeah, it was beautiful to just dance with the universal, the music which was there and the way we were all coming together. It was wonderful. So thank you so much for the same. And Sneha. Yeah. So firstly, we will start with a small introduction about the video about Auroville in that way. Maha will help us with the video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the first understanding about Auroville. The place which we showed in this video was Matra Mandir, the heart of Auroville in a way. Before we start, I just wanted to know a few things from you guys. What do you know about Auroville? Like what kind of understanding you have about Auroville? If some of you can tell me whatever like knowledge or whatever like information you have about Auroville, I would like to know a bit so that we can start having interaction. So any one of you can just tell me what is the understanding about Auroville which you have? Sitara over here is saying an experimental town. Yes, okay. I would also love to hear your voice.
An experimental town.
Yeah. Okay. What else do you think? What else Auroville is all about? Okay, let me ask you one more thing then. What do you think? What is the population of Auroville? How many people live over here? What is your idea?
Like 3,000?
Yeah, and from how many countries we are here for?
I would guess like 50 or more.
Okay, so right now we are here, we have at least 82 countries over here who are living together in a way. And so what we will do is I will give you a small presentation on the slides first, and then what we will do after that, whatever questions you have about Auroville and all, we will take that thing in the end. So first, let me go through the whole introduction, and then we will keep 15 to 20 minutes for the queries which you will have. So let me just start with the presentation. Yeah, so this is how it looks like right now. So how beautiful it looks like, all green. Okay, so I will start from here. So this is the Auroville Charter. This is the one thing which I love the most about Auroville. This is one thing which if you will ask me why I'm over here, is because of these 4 points. You can go through it and I will also read it from my side. Auroville belongs to nobody in particular. Auroville belongs to humanity as a whole. But to live in Auroville, one must be a willing servitor of the divine consciousness. Second point, Auroville will be a place of an unending education, of constant progress and a youth that never ages. So the best part is even if you're 60, 70, 80 years old, there is unending education. You can learn every single thing at any age. It doesn't matter. Third one, Auroville wants to be the bridge between the past and the future, taking advantage of all the discoveries from without and from within. Auroville will boldly spring towards future realizations. Auroville will be a site of material and spiritual research for a living embodiment of actual human unity. Somehow these 4 points are so relevant and so beautifully done. For me especially, if I not required and require anything else, and for me to to get to know about this place, these 4 things were so beautiful for me, and that's how I landed over here. So when was Auroville started? So Auroville was started on 28th of Feb 1968. It's now, I think, around 54 years old. This is the 55th year we are in now. And initially, I'm sharing you the picture. This was the day it was started. This is the picture of Matra Mandir, in fact. And there were people from 125 countries who got the soil from their countries over here. And this is how the base was was kept, the soil from all these countries which was over here, so that it in a way we show okay, human unity, everyone bring the soil from their own country and we start our base from here. Now where is Auroville? Auroville is in the southern part of India. It's very near to Pondicherry and it's next to Bay of Bengal on the side. And it's located around 8 kilometers before Pondicherry if you come from Chennai side. This is how Auroville is. So this is, you can see, this is how Auroville used to be on the yesterday, the one which is in front of the yesterday part. This is how Auroville was 50 years back, all barren. It was not, there were not many tree cover, there was not much. And in the today part, you see the change, how it looks now. It's so green. It's so beautiful. It's all full of trees, all different kind of vegetations, all different kind of birds, animals. It's beautiful in that way. And this is the future plan. We want to make it as most of you have said, like it will be an experimental township. So this is how it will look like in the future. This is the idea. Now, the one which you see over here, this is Matra Mandir, which we are very proud of. In fact, this is the place where for our own integral yoga, for doing our meditation, this is the place where we go and we do our meditation. This is like a heart of Auroville. It's like if you will ever come to Auroville, it's a place where you feel the energy. It's a very different energy over here. And this is where, so like our own Matra Mandir, we have beautiful gardens. We have 12 different gardens over there. And at the same time, this amphitheater, which you can see over here, this is the place where most of the bigger functions or whenever the community have to come together to decide on few things and all, this is the place we come. And we also celebrate major festivals over here. Now, Auroville is divided into 4 different zones. So one of the zone is residential zone where the community members, they come and they stay over here. So in these zones, we have different houses where all the people we have different status in Auroville, which I will talk about in the next 5 minutes. But this is a residential zone. The next one is the international zone, in which I was telling about how all these different countries have their own spaces. We have African pavilion, we have French pavilion, we have American pavilion, we have all these different countries where they show their culture, their art. They practice about their dances, and they practice about their food. This is the places where we explore more about that. Then we have industrial zone where we do all the industrial part of Auroville, like where we do a lot of research into the sustainable practices over here. And then we have the cultural zone where we have all the schools, all the parks, all the sport facilities, and all this is divided into the cultural zone part. Now about the learnings, as we said in the charters, if Auroville is all about learning, this is the place where you don't need a certificate or you don't need a college degree to come and learn. This is the place where if you have any kind of passion to learn something, that's all is required. Like, to be very frank, this is one thing which I love about Auroville. Like if you have the passion, if you want to learn, there's like hundreds of things over here to learn every single day in a way. Then the working part. So now in Auroville, as we were talking before, we have 3,200 people over here, right? And how it works over here is, in any community or in any unit which you work over here, we don't have any kind of hierarchy in the way, like, okay, like if the boss of the company will have more salary, or the peon of the company will have less salary. Over here in Auroville, all the Aurovillians, they get the same maintenance. So everyone, like even if you're working as the CEO of the company, so there is no CEO or there is no hierarchy in that way. Like we have the stewards over here, and everyone have their own importance of their job, what they're doing over here. But everyone gets the same maintenance. Even a watchman who is guarding the gate over here, or even the person who is very highly skilled in terms of the internet or in terms of computer or whatever, even they get the same maintenance. So there is no hierarchy in that way. It depends on how many hours you are putting in. Like if you're putting the whole 7 to 8 hours in your work and all, you will get the full maintenance. And if you're doing just half 3 to 4 hours of your contribution to Auroville, then you will get the half maintenance. This is how it works. In total, in Auroville, we have around 511 units. So 200 units are service or commercial units, which helps in the economy of Auroville, and other 300 units are the service units, which help with the whole working of Auroville internally in a way. Then so if you will ever come to Auroville, you will see how our theater, our art works over here. Just imagine if there are people from 80 countries, and every single day we have some or the other concert or some or the other theater or the play and something, and it's a beautiful medium to express. And we have a lot of good resources. We have 3 to 4 auditoriums over here. At the same time, we also have a place which is like an open auditorium and all. So there's a lot of resources which Auroville gives you to express yourself. And in any field, whenever you feel like, okay, I need some other people to help me with my creative work, we will always find people over here who can help each other in getting your expression out. Serving, yeah. So we have over here, we have a place which is called Solar Kitchen. So most of the units, what happens over here is like in the lunch time, we don't get time to cook ourselves. So we have a place called Solar Kitchen where most of the community people, they come from the units in the lunch time to have their meals all together. So just imagine, like, at one given point of time, there's like at between 12 to 1 Indian Standard Time in the afternoon, all of us, we come together at Solar Kitchen, most of us, and then we eat together over here. So every one of us, we get to know each other, we get to sit with anyone we want, and like we get to know, okay, what's happening in their unit, in their workplace and all. This is how we interact. And we also, like, so all these people who you are seeing in the slide, most of them are volunteers. So they're just like, okay, like we will wash the plates today, okay, we will serve today, and also it's all based on that. Caring. So in Auroville, we have two places, like one is called Auroville Health Center, which is much more to do with the primary health care over here. And the other one is much more to do with the holistic practices. Researching, yeah, this is one thing. So as I think Sneha will talk a lot about the research part of Auroville Consulting over here, but Auroville take a lot of pride in doing a lot of research in sustainable practices in and around this area. And we have like done some amazing work in terms of, like, energy, in terms of farm and forestry, in terms of waste management. This is a solar bowl which is used for steaming rice over here in the Solar Kitchen. So this is used in the Solar Kitchen over here, and this is used to prepare food. If you ever come to Auroville, and if it's possible, we will love to take you over here in Solar Kitchen, and you will see how the solar bowl works. So this is like a solar bowl. Now, in the education part, again, in the education, we have Devi and Auropremi with us, which will take you much more deeper inside the understanding of how the education works over here. They have both studied over here from the childhood. So they will give you much more insight about how education system of Auroville works. Yeah, it's for me, it's so beautiful to see, like, just imagine all these kids from so many different backgrounds, from different culture, all playing together, all seeing, all, like, having so much of fun, learning from each other. It's just amazing to see all of that. Now I will talk to you much more about the architecture. We are famous for that. Like Auroville is like, if you throw, like, we have a saying over here, if you throw a stone in Auroville, you will find an architect. We have so many architects over here, and we do a lot of experiments in natural building, in different kind of like earth buildings, in different kinds of adobe, cob, like a bamboo. It's a lot of research which happens in the architecture, and we get a lot of students from all over the world in Auroville to do their research, or to do their learnings, or to do their workshops over here to learn much more about the architect. You can see like so many different kind of designs which
There seems to be a bit of internet in fluctuation where they are. So thank you everyone for being patient. Hi, Fratu, you're back. I think we lost you for the last 2 minutes.
Okay. Can you see me now?
Yes.
And can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful houses.
Okay. Yeah, can you see this man like doing something with their hands? Yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, so you can see like how all of us, we come together and we build houses, and we do different kind of experiments. We have some major units over here. Like one of the most famous one is Auroville Earth Institute, which do a lot of workshops and a lot of research into making different kind of techniques. Now let's go back to the past. So this is how we were. Like it was all barren. There was not much of a tree cover, that not much of vegetation around, and the water level was really low, like really low in the surrounding areas. One of the problems which the local people were facing was whenever it used to rain over here, the topsoil, which is the most fertile one, the topsoil will always wash away in the sea. There was no sea, the water was not able to seep in because it was all barren and there was not many plants and trees and all. So the first thing what Aurovillians, when they landed over here in 1968, the first thing they started doing is they started making bundis. That means they started making a kind of a space where they can block the rain when it comes in so that it starts seeping in. Okay, the first initial few years, like first initial 15, that's what the pioneers of Auroville, whenever I sit with them and talk to them, that if I ask them, what you were doing in the initial years of your stay in Auroville? That's the most typical answer I always get. We were only digging. This is what we were doing. We were making bundis everywhere so that we can stop the rainwater and we can start the rainwater to seep in. So this is how they started their work in at that point of time, and see what it did to this beautiful place. Now imagine like Auroville is right now is in 3,000 acres of land. Okay, and what a human being, what people can do if they really want to change things. So this is how. So we also made a lot of canyons over here to collect the water. We started digging a lot of land and we started collecting a lot of water over here. And in the next 20-25 years, the water table started going up, and it not only benefited Auroville, it also benefited the village around us. All the villages which are there around us, they also started understanding why is it so important to have a nice soil, and why is it so important to have canyons all around. You can see some of the dams and some of the places which we built over here. Next thing I will talk about a bit about the farming. So we are using in Auroville, right now we have 32 farms in total, which are doing different kind of farming over here. I will not say we are totally sustainable in terms of farming. We are still buying a few of the products from outside. But at the same time, we are trying different ways of of farming in terms of what we do in permaculture. At the same time, how can we do much more about making different kind of beds, making different kind of can we use the indigenous seeds and all. We have a lot of people who do a different research into seed banks, also to understand how different plants work in different kinds of landscapes. So a lot of research happens over here. And the best thing, whenever you come to Auroville, even if you want to volunteer in any of the farms or any of the forest, they're very open about that thing. How to work with the soil and all. We have a lot of units and a lot of places where you can come and you can volunteer in that. You can see the school kids coming and understanding and learning about different techniques. So we take a lot of pride in telling them about our work, what we do in terms of farm and forestry. Now this is how the future looks like. This is what we have envisioned in terms of this is how the future galaxy plan of Auroville will look like. The white thing which you see over here is all the buildings which we will create for the people and for the other different purposes over here. And the green cover you can see is much more to do with the green conservation. So this is what Auroville is all about: human unity. Just imagine a place where we have people from all over the world living together and understanding and learning from each other. We have our own differences, we have our own learnings, but this is what, as we said, this is an experimental town. Living in a world like this right now, where there's so much of things happening. So Auroville is it's a community which is one of the community which is so huge. First of all, secondly, it's a miracle how all the culture they live together, because we don't practice that many religions over here. We don't say this religion is high or this religion is low, and also every one of them, they come together. And it's an experiment for the human unity. We are trying different understanding, different perspectives, and we are trying to reach out in that way. And yeah, and this is always we say that unity in diversity. This is how we can have diverse culture from all over. It's not so easy, as all of us, I think, all of us, we understand when we come from different backgrounds, from different opinions, from different mindset. It's not that easy, but that's what the beautiful thing about this place. You can never expect any one single day in Auroville as boring day. There's always so much which is happening over here. There's always so much to learn, so much to contribute. So before giving this thing to my friends over here, Devi and Premi, who are I was telling you about, right? Like they are the people who are born and brought up over here. Just imagine they are born and brought up over here in Auroville. Like they have like lived their childhood, their youth, and how they feel about Auroville. I will love you guys to hear from them. So here, Devi and Premi, please.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much.
I think if you're in a same room, then the other computer just need to mute its speaker.
Thank you, Prathal. Thank you so much for the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Auroville, and I was born and brought up in Auroville. My connection to Auroville comes way down from my grandparents. My grandfather was actually involved in carpentry works for Matri Mandir when it was getting built. And my mom, being born and brought up in Auroville, met my father, who was also born in the nearby villages of Auroville, and that's how my link towards Auroville starts. And a little bit about my schooling. I did my entire schooling in Auroville, from pre-creche to elementary to my high school. And I'd like to talk about my elementary school experience a bit more, because that's where there was a major shifts and changes and differences of different schools were there. I went to an elementary school called Transition School, and I would say that I had classmates from all around the world who spoke French, Tamil, German, and we were exposed to different culture and different backgrounds at a very young stage. And my elementary school didn't have exams. With no exams, what I mean is that we had evaluations, tests, and lessons as so as other schools around Auroville, but we didn't have exams that those yearly exams that mean that only when you pass you'll get to go to the next grade. So we didn't have such compulsory systems, and so that itself was a very major difference from schools outside of Auroville. And yeah, since there was no exams, our school at that point didn't have even though it was approved by the school board of Auroville, it wasn't quite recognized for the schools that were outside of Auroville. So we did have a little bit of explanation or detailed paperwork that had to be done before shifting schools or different academic systems. And after that, I shifted to my high school, which was Future School. We followed the IGCSE syllabus, which is the Edexcel Pearson syllabus from UK. And there we get to choose the subjects that you would want to do further in your educational aspect. So we chose the subjects that we want to do, and we did exams on those subjects particularly. And each time we had the question papers from UK board, and then we had to write exams here, and then our papers would get back to UK to get corrected. And that's how the system was. And it was purely, the O levels and A levels kind of a system. And again, there was a difficulty when we were stepping out for colleges and universities, because at that particular time period, me and Devi would know that we were the first batches that were graduating with these type of certificates to the outer world, where IGCSE syllabus wasn't well recognized at that time. So we had to do our, the talking, the explanation, and it took extra effort other than for the students who did schooling outside of Auroville, but we still managed. And since we were the first batches and there are students that are graduating more, like the younger ones, now it's even a smoother process. And all along, I would want to say that we were exposed to a lot of other curricular activities, mainly sports and other electives. And to give you an example, I was exposed to do Veena and classical dance on the side, and I was also part of like a basketball group in Auroville. And yeah, I think that's it from my side. Devi would fill in with.
Thank you, Auroville. Hi, everyone. It's nice to talk to you. So I will touch upon some points that I won't repeat what Auroville has already shared, but I'll give you a much broader overview. So I was also born and brought up in Auroville. My parents came here 27 years ago, and they are going to be here only. And my schooling was also in Auroville. And it was a very small school, so we were about 50 to 60 students overall. And the main aspect of the education here was that small groups enable you to connect with the teacher. So, and that is the main reason why we didn't have examinations, because the teacher knew in what level we were. So, and that really helps the student in terms of the pace they learn at and the subjects they take. And we mostly were out of the classroom. We were not always inside the classroom with books or boards or anything. So we were out there doing gardening, doing sports, painting our classrooms, cooking, and learning languages through various different things. So it was a very holistic experience, the education over here. And I think that is very much required to develop all the other skills that are required when we get out of Auroville into the real world. And we did some very rare activities that usually people don't get to do, such as archaeological excavations and studying about the cultural remains. And sports was also a very important aspect of our education. And our teacher tried to implement what the Sri Aurobindo Ashram system is in Pondicherry. So they have a very strong sports curriculum. And so he tried to bring that to Auroville, which was a really huge help for everyone around Auroville also, because we believe that sports plays a huge role in what a person will be. So especially for me, I really believe that the sports played a major role more than my school in my upbringing and the way that my personality was developed. And the facilities that Auroville provided us with is just unending and immense, which we as youth sometimes fail to see when we have it. But then when a time comes that we have to leave Auroville and explore the world outside and come back, I think that's when we see the real value of the facilities that we had here. So we learned everything from team sports to gymnastics to swimming and trekking and a lot of things that we were exposed to. And we're really fortunate that we had that opportunity and exposure. And when I did go to college outside of Auroville, it was completely different. I didn't know anyone in that space. It was not a home feeling. It was out there and on my own. But all the education and the support that I got from Auroville, I somehow managed to find my way through the outside world. And most people believe that the cultural or the environmental shock would be quite immense, and we won't manage because we were one of the first batches who went out to the competitive world, so to say. But we did manage through, and somehow there was a confidence built in us through our young ages in Auroville. So that kept us going, and we finished what we went for. and then now we are back, and we want to give back to the community what the community gave us when we were young. And I think that's the whole idea of Auroville, that you give to the community, and the community always gives to us. So we do have to recognize that qualities, and we do give back. And so we are really happy that we're having this opportunity to share our small experiences that really changed us and that really impacted us. And we're really happy to share that with you. And we also see this as an opportunity to give back to our community, because talking about our lives and our lives in Auroville, how we grew up as youth, I think it's a great example that that really built our lives actually. So we feel that this is also in a way giving back to our community, talking about our community. And now I'll pass on to Sneha, who will be talking about our organization, Auroville Consulting. Thank you.
So hello everybody. Thank you GENOA for this opportunity to share a little bit about my story and also the unit that we all work in. And thank you to all of you. It's a privilege to speak to a global and international audience, and happy to share little experience that I've gained over the last few years. So my connection also is deeply rooted with Auroville and the ashram. So my connection goes back to the time when my grandparents were looking for an alternate system of education for my father and his siblings. And in actually trying to, they were actually headed towards Rishi Valley in India to see if there was any opportunity there. And by some hand of grace, they got redirected to Pondicherry, and they saw the ashram. They came to know about the project of Auroville, and that's where my grandparents took the decision that this is where they would want their children to grow up. So way back in the early 70s, my father and uncle came over here, and at that time Auroville, as Pratul mentioned, was founded in 1968. So those were the very, very early years of this new project. It was a new adventure. It was, and that's where it's in that environment that my father and uncle grew, and that's where the seeds of my connection to this place were sown. Now so my father and uncle grew up in Auroville, but 10 kilometers south of Auroville is this place called Pondicherry. And that's where we have the ashram, the Sri Aurobindo ashram, which I may say is the source of this entire philosophy on which Auroville is based. So the Sri Aurobindo ashram was founded, or there were the two people on whose philosophy the entire ashram was built was Sri Aurobindo and the mother, a French lady called Mira Alfassa, who we refer to as the mother. So the Sri Aurobindo came to Pondicherry way back in 1910. The mother joined him as his spiritual partner in 1914, and then eventually came for good to Pondicherry in 1920. And since then, with a few disciples, the ashram was formed, and over the years it grew. And in 1944, when the World War was out there, the mother decided that a lot of the disciples came with their children, and she decided that we need a space where the children's energies are channeled, and that's how in a very organic way a school was formed where she used to personally take the classes. And then with that, slowly the school evolved and it formed into a more formal structure, which today we call as Sri Aurobindo International Center of Education. And that's the school that I have grown up in. And so the philosophy of the mother and Sri Aurobindo in a nutshell, so they have, I mean, their outlooks, their views are not religious in any way, they're spiritual. So they never, it's not about do's and don'ts, but it is about a way of life. And in a very short and in a nutshell, if I could summarize my understanding of what their philosophy is, so what they say is that there has been a natural process of evolution that has happened over all these years. There was the stone, or there was matter, and from there life emerged. From life, now the mind has emerged. So man, we have the mental capacity to think, to to use our minds. So this natural process of evolution has happened over all these years in a very natural way. Today we are at a phase of life where definitely we know that this is not the end of evolution. There is something more that has to happen. It cannot stop where it is. It is still too imperfect for it to end here. And with the capacity of the mind having come in, we are in a position where we can consciously participate in this process of evolution. So their way is about showing how we as humans can consciously participate in this process of evolution. And the second important point of their philosophy, in my understanding, is that all other practices, or most of the other practices, speak about spirituality by leaving, or by letting go of the material world or the real world. Whereas what they say is the change has to happen in the world itself. So you cannot let go of the real world. It's not that you leave that and go off in the mountains and you meditate and you find your whatever you're seeking, but it has to happen here in the real world. So the transformation has to happen from the material level. It cannot be left, that part cannot be left. So that's in a very, I mean, I'm not even sure I'm doing justice to what their teachings are, but I've tried to kind of summarize in a very short and crisp way what my understanding is. And the school that I have grown up in is based on this philosophy. So the system of education adopts a very integral approach, where all the parts of the being are kind of given attention and developed. The idea being that when you have to prepare for the next rung of evolution, you have to be prepared on all fronts. So we have a very thorough and rigorous physical education curriculum, which Devi mentioned. And I think a reflection of the system is what you will also see in Auroville, in the schools of Auroville. The source of it is there in the ashram, because that's where Sri Aurobindo and the mother were physically present, and they actually set the systems and the structures there. So so we have a very rigorous physical education system where we're exposed to all sorts of sports in every way possible, from swimming to gymnastics to athletics, games, combatives, like martial arts. So to create a body that is sound, that is healthy, that is plastic, that is adaptable to changing times and conditions. Then we have the vital education, as they say, which is developing your aspect of appreciating aesthetics. It could be music, it could be art, it could be poetry, it could be dance, anything that is on the cultural front, where you have that possibility to develop that. Then we have then we have the mental education, which is obviously learning how to sharpen your mind, think clearly, synthesize thoughts, look at complex systems and simplify them and take just what's important. So these are the physical, vital, mental. Then we have the other aspects, which is the psychic and the spiritual, which is more something that we imbibe being in the environment of the ashram. It's just the fact that there is that philosophy that was laid out, and the environment that we grow up in, that's where a little bit that there's something deeper and that is guiding us all, and we just, having grown up in that environment, we imbibe it. So I don't think I can really spell out what that would really mean, but it's just that in the 18 years of our education there. So our education starts at the age of 3 when we enter kindergarten, and we graduate at the age of 21, which would be equivalent to college. Now, as Premi and Devi mentioned, the ashram school is also founded on this very sound principle that we are studying for the joy of studying and for the joy that, just for the sake of learning. So it is not driven by this desire to make money or to make a career or to, prove anything to the world. So there aren't any certificates. We are not evaluated based on any exams, and there are no certificates that are issued to us. So that's why parents, before they put their children in the school, are requested to really understand the system, because it isn't very easy to accept a system like that in a world today which is driven towards degrees and certificates and papers and proving where you are. So I think we have really lived through that system, and I can very proudly say that today I have not got a certificate. I mean, I have not, the school doesn't issue a certificate, and I don't have any certificate to, to lean on to prove my capability or what I'm able to offer to the world. It hasn't, I mean, to be very honest, because the world doesn't understand the system, it's not been a very easy journey. But what I'm very proud to say is that today more than 2000 universities across the globe accept this system of education, and they do not necessarily ask for that paper to get students from this organization admitted into their universities. So hopefully with time, more and more people will be accepting of this system. And the beauty is that at every point of my school life that I remember, the driving element to do anything was just that, wow, okay, I want to do that, or this gives me joy and therefore I'm doing it. There was no other pressure that I have to pass this exam, I have to get this paper, I have to get this degree, I have to prove this point. It wasn't that. And that is such a liberating way to grow up. And I feel even today the drive for doing anything in life is not about oh, it's going to give me this and therefore I'm going to do it. It's just because it's purely a joyful experience and a joyful activity. So I think that's where my roots are, that's where I've grown up. And the system of education that Devi and Auropremi have grown up in is similar. It's a reflection of this source that was founded in ashram in Pondicherry. Now Auroville is the dream, like you saw the video in the beginning. It's a dream. Whose dream is it? So it is the dream of the mother. I mean, she's the one who conceptualized this project, wrote the charter, and created or gave this beautiful project a space to get started, this experiment to get started. Now, as all other communities, I think you've seen the external side, the different experiments happening here and the different activities happening in Auroville. The one element, the additional element which I would like to share, which somebody from Auroville very recently explained to me, and which I think was very, very fascinating for me. And that connects back to the original philosophy of what the Mother and Sri Aurobindo speak about. So why Auroville? Why Auroville as different from any other community? So like I mentioned, the philosophy of Mother and Sri Aurobindo speak about having a next rung of evolution where we are consciously participating and not allowing it to take its. So we are actually accelerating the process of evolution. So so how it goes is that when any shift needs to happen in society, you would see science speaks about there has to be a small sample size first that create that change, and then the rest follow. So if you look at it from a virus point of view, when there is a new variant that happens, it's first those samples, those few viruses that make that change, and once that happens, then that becomes the normal. So Auroville what I was explained and which I find absolutely fascinating is Auroville intends to be that concentration of people who wish to participate in this process of change. And once this change happens here, and it can actually happen anywhere, but Auroville intends to be that one of those places to create that shift. And once that shift happens on a level of consciousness, once it happens here, it is a change for the world. But you need that dense population of people to make this change happen. And I think the moment I heard this, it's kind of just inspired me even more to be part of this project, because it is that really, we are trying to create something that's very, very different and new. And every effort, every moment that goes in actually participating in this project is a contribution to the world at large, not just this community. So with this, I will end about myself and Auroville and Ashram. But if there are any questions we could take later, I'll briefly share what we do in our unit. So our unit is called Auroville Consulting, and we are one of the 200 income generating units. Like Pratul said, there are 200 income generating units in Auroville. So Auroville Consulting is one of the units. So I'll share how we work here or what we do here. All right. So Auroville Consulting, founded in 2010. So now running 12 years, 13 years, we're running the 13th year. It's a unit of Auroville. So it's we have the Auroville Foundation. Under the Auroville Foundation, we have different trusts. So Auroville Consulting is a unit under the CSR trust. CSR is the Center for Scientific Research. So we are a trust, we are a unit under the Center for Scientific Research Trust. So what we do is we provide strategic planning, design, and monitoring services. So we work with corporates and governments to for initiatives to realize ecologically and socially responsible habitats and campus development. And what we really care about is cultural and natural diversity, human well-being, and a healthy and prosperous ecosystem that supports all life on this planet. And all our projects are kind of around this theme. Our vision. So the vision of Auroville Consulting is to create a knowledge-based enterprise of excellence in Auroville. So situated in Auroville, we would like to be one of those knowledge-based enterprises that represent excellence, that represents, the best practices. Our mission, which again is very inspiring for me personally, are the following. So one is for any organization to grow, there has to be an exchange of the organization with the outside world. And I think Auroville Consulting wishes to be that bridge between Auroville and the outside world. So to facilitate that two-way exchange. So basically the best practices from Auroville are shared with the world, and vice versa. The best practices from the world are then brought into Auroville so that Auroville can grow, because no one unit or no one organization is perfect. We have to grow and learn from one another. The second mission is to groom, nurture, and support young, talented, and skilled individuals to take up challenging and stimulating development tasks within the ecosystem of Auroville. So as young people, when we come to Auroville, we want a space where we can, express ourselves, find, the skills and expertise that we have, we can contribute to, to develop the organization and the community that we are in. And within the ecosystem of Auroville. So what that means is, not doing things the normal way, not doing things the way the outside world works. So it's not money that is the driving element. So it's not competitive salaries that brings us here. It's not the, wish to just, the driving element is, at the end of the day, all our efforts go back to the dream project of the mother, which is to build this experimental city of human unity. And the third mission is to undertake activities that will generate surplus funds for Auroville. So basically, the income generating units of Auroville are intended to, whatever excess income over expenses generated, that goes back to the foundation, to the Auroville Foundation, to the main this thing, so that the other service units can be supported. So that's how it's been designed. The fundamental values of our unit are equality, goodwill, passion, and commitment. These are in line with also the charter of Auroville and the dream. And all of us who join here, we subscribe to these four values. So starting from the policies to our way of working, everything is driven by these four qualities or these four values. Again, like Pratul mentioned, we do not have any hierarchy. It's not a power hierarchy that one person is more important than the other. Everyone on the team are it's a flat hierarchy system. But to function, we need some functional hierarchy, but that's about it. That's just to get things going. But in terms of how we are treated, how the privileges available are all equal to everybody. And that's again something very different from how the outside world works, and something inspiring to be part of. So we have different verticals within Auroville Consulting. So energy transition vertical, carbon management, training and capacity building, communication and design, and project management. So I'll briefly go over what each of the verticals do. So the energy vertical. So we do renewable energy policy advisory services. So basically working with the state and central government of India to help them draft energy policies, or think like to be like their think tanks, or to work with certain plans for their sustainability related action plans. Then we have the power sector reform engagement. So since we believe in we agree that, and we believe that the power sector requires a reform. The way it is not at all environmentally sustainable. We publish a lot of reports, white papers, publications to create that awareness, work with individual journalists or media people, and also work with the industries to make them aware of what is needed. All these reports are available on our website, so you may always go to our website and see the work we've done. Then we're doing an industrial research on smart mini grid integration and using Auroville as our demonstration base. And I'll speak to you about it in a while. We've done projects around the water, energy, land, livelihood nexus. We do project management of demonstration and research projects. So basically, we would like to offer Auroville as that space to experiment with innovative and new projects which are related to sustainability, which can then eventually be replicated elsewhere or scaled up. So again, that's what drives us. And then we have a tool that we have created that allows us to do geospatial analytics and land suitability assessments. So this Auroville Smart Mini Grid project was conceived to install basically distributed rooftop energy systems to reduce our dependency, our electricity consumption, and our dependency on the public utility. And it also, it includes energy storage and smart energy meters. The idea being that, more and more, we believe that distributed and connected renewable energy will be essential parts of a sustainable energy future. So that is what we wish to demonstrate through this project. Presently, through our Smart Mini Grid project, we have done 2 phases. We have about 400 kilowatt energy that is generated through this system. And apart from that, we also have independent solar installations. So all in all, today Auroville has about 900 kilowatt of its energy that is generated through renewable sources. And I think we are at about 50%, so we still have 50% more to go. And the idea is to keep working towards making Auroville one day free of completely generated by renewable energy. Then we have a carbon management vertical. Basically, we help companies, communities, organizations to do GHG accounting. GHG stands for greenhouse gas accounting. So basically helping companies or organizations measure their emissions, their carbon emissions, and help them to reduce and then offset the emissions, that excess emissions that they have. We have done circular economy analysis for a manufacturing company. We have done ESG reporting for a couple of organizations, and we've also done a community scale GHG emissions inventory. So we have done that for Auroville for the financial year 2018-19. So it was basically to map and measure Auroville as a community, where we are we, how carbon neutral we are, and what can we do to further improve or reduce our emissions. On the greenhouse gas accounting, as a unit ourselves, as Auroville Consulting, we have been measuring our own carbon emissions for the last 7-8 years, and making sure that we contribute towards tree planting to offset all our excess emissions. So we are, as an organization, carbon neutral for the last since 2015. We have a couple of tools that we have created. SolSavvy being a tool to help the consumer evaluate their solar energy and battery storage capacity, considering their state's regulations and the electrical rates that are there. So it helps you basically to determine what is your capacity, how much you would save, and how much emissions you would reduce if you were to install rooftop solar in your house. So this is for any individual to, if I want to, let's say, set up rooftop solar in my house, and I want to take a decision of how much to put and what are the savings and how is it going to help, this calculator helps to do that. It's a free calculator available online. And then we have Solva, which is similar, but it is not intended to the individual. It's more for the distributors, the power distributors. These are actually relevant to the state. It depends on the state that you are in, and so it's applicable to any state in India. Then we have two other tools, interesting tools. One is Leela, which is a digital tool that uses satellite imagery to identify barren land and help evaluate its potential for solar, water, and ecological restoration. So it helps to assess what's the best use of that land. And this is a solution that we can provide globally. Currently, we have done a couple of projects in the district of Tamil Nadu and Madhya Pradesh, but it can be expanded to anywhere in the world. And then we have this carbon converter, which is again a tool that helps us to calculate our transport related emissions and provides us with the opportunity to contribute to planting forests in Auroville to offset those emissions. And we have a design team. So they help us to, so again, the design team works with collaborators across the globe and also internally to help us document the projects that we are doing. So they basically help to plan, film, and produce video content. Basically, any idea, any message, any story which is beautiful and impactful, it helps to convert that into a visual reality. And we have a very skilled team with a beautiful sense of aesthetics and who create the reports and the videos for our own projects and for external ones. We've done it for people in India. We've also done it for people abroad. Then we have a project management team, basically consisting of a team who work to provide simple and effective solutions for engineering, residential, commercial, and institutional projects, and to look at smooth implementation of those projects. They also are, they work to any tailored proposal or solution for project ideas. From inception stage, we require cross-disciplinary expertise, so they help in managing those and taking them to completion. And third is to help development projects in Auroville. And then we come to the final vertical, which is Auroville Green Practices, or our training and capacity building team, which Pratul is a part of. So basically, we bring together different stakeholders to envision a future human habitat that are ecologically, socially, and economically nurturing. We organize educational and awareness programs in forms of conferences, seminars, workshops, webinars for professional students and the common man. Anybody who would like to understand more about sustainability, who would like to learn more or do something in that area. So whatever we have developed as experience within Auroville in the last 50 years, 54 years, we help curate those programs and get that shared with the outside world. And finally, we have learning programs for students and professionals in the spaces of sustainable development. We do for individuals as well as we do for institutions. So we also have custom workshops that we plan. Let's say a group wants to come, a group from a university wants to come, or students from university want to come. So we help them come to Auroville and we share the practices that we have here. And I think what's most important in all this is that the people, the facilitators who are here are all people who've been in Auroville for many, many years, who've really, contributed with their knowledge, their experience, experimented with their passion here. So it's also really inspiring to hear the stories of these facilitators, how they've come here and their journeys and then their work. So that's what we are happy to share with the outside world. So I guess with this, I will end my thing. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. You have the information on our websites, or you can directly write to us. And I leave Pratul to add if he has anything else to say about the Auroville Green Practice. Thank you.
Yes, I think you guys have enough knowledge about what we do over here. So with the whole Auroville Green Practices, the idea is like even the communities all over the world, like, and if any one of you would like to bring your community, or if you want to bring your people over here and like understand much more about the practices, what we're doing over here. So this is the whole idea of Auroville Green Practices, is to bridge the gap between Auroville and the world around. So like we will share our contact details and everything in the end, so we can get in touch. And like if there's any kind of sharing happens or whatever, if you want to come over here and do different things and all, we are all open for you guys. Now what I will do is I will share a video with you guys which will give you an understanding of what's happening in Auroville right now. It's a 7-minute video. It's a beautiful video shot by one of the Aurovillian over here, Serena. So I will just start doing that.
Auroville, a conscious city within a forest. What's going on here? Ecological construction, from compressed, stabilized earth bricks to earth bag techniques, using earth and lime instead of cement. Auroville Bamboo Center teaches different building techniques with bamboo. Including the geodesic dome combined with a local keat roof. Using wattle and daub technique, mixing raw earth, cow dung and cow urine brings traditional and modern techniques together. Auroville has become a hub for innovation in an incredible array of different fields, from various reforestation techniques to alternative energy and mobility solutions such as Kinesi bikes. Aurovillians are always asking questions and pushing into the future. Working together with the local bioregion, there is a concentrated effort to find solutions for waste. Environmental education takes various forms. There are broader permaculture design courses and opportunities to learn simple solutions like homemade toothpaste and non-polluting cleaning products. You can't get any fresher than from farm to table. One can explore eating, harvesting, and cooking locally grown, traditional, and fusion food. With knowledge from more than 20 community farms, Auroville has many organic farming techniques to learn from, and at the heart of it is the seed. There is an emphasis on traditional seed preservation, ensuring that these nutritional treasures are not lost in the sweep of modernization. Auroville practices multidisciplinary healthcare, offering and teaching a diversity of services, treatments, and therapies in line with its commitment to integral health. In high demand in Auroville are handmade unique instruments for healing from Swaram and body aquatic work taught in Quiet Healing Center. The annual Auroville Marathon is one of the largest and most popular running events in India. There is also an emphasis on children's sports, bringing together students from all over Auroville and its bioregion to celebrate healthy sportsmanship. Traditional martial arts such as karate and kalalipayattu are taught and sometimes integrated into dance and theatre performances. Theatre also takes many forms: comedy through improvisation, satire, and storytelling through drama and musicals. Big, state-of-the-art productions incorporating creative CGI set design. With its emphasis on seeking the unique soul qualities of each individual, Auroville has become an incubator of artistic expression. And as an experiment in human unity, Auroville celebrates the richness and beauty of this world's diverse cultures and provides space for them to shine and interact. Artistic creations happen in many diverse ways, from woodwork to ceramics and pottery. The annual Auroville Art Camp brings together these multitudes, offering a showcase for a variety of creative expressions. Along with various exhibitions in the Auroville art galleries, artists also come together to sell their work in order to raise funds for Auroville's Dreams for Land. All visitors are welcome to share their unique cultural wisdom and identity, adding to the many expressions of human unity in Auroville. The annual Auroville Film Festival curates quality cinema and offers a celebration of film, music, and world cuisine. Upasana showcases examples of sustainable, conscious fashion, and Freestore gives residents opportunities to reuse and upcycle clothes. It's important to have a sense of place and to celebrate traditional seasonal festivals, bringing together the wider community across the year. Another bridge between Auroville and the local villages is the educational outreach work done by Tamarai After School Project, Wasteless, and EcoFem. Auroville aims aims to be a place to reconnect to each other, both within and to the rest of the world, sharing our stories in the past, present, and future. In the city with the soul of the Matri Mandir and a 50-plus-year-old forest, we welcome people of goodwill to join us in this experiment in unending education.
Yeah. So this was the link to the video for what's happening in Auroville and what it's so beautifully shot, and this is exactly like what we are doing over here. And I think now the last 10-12 minutes, whatever questions you guys have, if me and Sneha and like my other friends over here, if they can answer, we will love to answer. So you can either ask us over here, or can help us, can read those questions, and we can, whatever we know, we will help you in answering that. And we'll also share some links which will give you much more insight about the whole thing in detail. So if you want to ask something, you can simply unmute your button and you can ask us over here.
Okay. Well, firstly, thank you so much. It was such a well put sharing with information from the background to experience of use, born and raised, and then experience from also one particular unit going deeper into what you do. I think I myself learned a lot. I think others as well. I have noted down 5 questions from Sherry, Ashley, Benjamin, Youngler, and myself. So I would actually love to invite people to actually speak and raise their question directly for more interaction. So whoever is ready to reread, maybe just to speak out the question that you have put in the chat before, you can maybe raise your hand or just unmute and say it. That's also fine. Yeah, Sherry, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sherry. I would just like to ask, how do you govern yourself? Like with the consulting section that you have, do you report to somebody? And then how is the monitoring done if there is?
Are you asking about the specific unit or consulting?
It could be an overall view of who manages Auroville and also the sections.
Okay, so like there is a organizational way, like how we, can you show me the map? Yeah, so all of Auroville, it comes under Ministry of Education of India in a way. And so that's the first government of India in which we have Ministry of Education. It comes on the top. And under that, it comes Auroville Foundation. And Auroville Foundation is divided into 3 different bodies. One is the governing board. The second is the Resident Assembly. And the third one is International Advisory Council, IAC. Okay. So in this, what happens is like in the Resident Assembly, then we have different bodies over here, which is like Town Development Council. Then we have FAMC, which is the Fund and Assets Management Committee. And then we have Working Committee over here who takes care of the whole overall development of Auroville in a way. So every part, like we have different bodies which governs different units. Like commercial unit, they all come under BCC and FAMC, that they the Fund and Management Committee over here. Then we have service units which are not to do anything with the commercial part, which are to do much more to do with the internal running of Auroville in a way. So that comes in different bodies. So, but at the same time, nobody is answering as per se to anyone over here. Like we all are working like in whatever contribution we can give. And then we have different bodies. So we have discussions over here. We don't like, nobody comes and tell us, okay, this is what you need to do. At the same time, then we have we have different community calls, as what we are seeing over here. We have different resident assembly. And whenever we have something important which we need to take care of, then we call all the community members who are part of that, who want to have this some kind of discussion around that, and then we have the votes. So normally it functions this way.
And if I may add, so the units, all belong to the Auroville Foundation. So legally, we all belong to the Auroville Foundation. As Auroville Consulting is not a legal entity by itself. It's a unit under the Auroville Foundation. And the foundation appoints 2 or 3 executives who are responsible to run the unit. So they are Aurovillians residing in Auroville and appointed by the foundation.
Sherry, does that clear your question in a way?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Next, I would invite Ashley.
Hi, Pratul and Sneha. Thanks for your really interesting sharing about Auroville. Very, very inspiring. Just watching the whole, all the videos and listening to everybody's stories. My next question was, how can I come there? You know, and I mean, you mentioned like there are volunteers and there are residents like yourself over there. Maybe if you can just tell us a little bit more about what's the process on accepting new people. Is there like you need to put in so many number of volunteer hours before you can become a full-time resident, or how does the acceptance process work? Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin and Zaga, to ask this question. This is something which is the beautiful part of Auroville. How does it work over here? First, when you come as a guest. So you become a guest over here to Auroville. You come, you check out different places where you can contribute, where you can learn, and then we have this unit called SAVI. SAVI. What we will do in the end, we will share all the links, so it will be easier for you guys to let's just go and check it out. But if you first, what happens is you become a volunteer over here. Then in the SAVI volunteer, what happens is once you are here as a guest, you go to different units to check out, okay, what kind of work they are doing, and are you interested in that kind of work, and what place you have, you can contribute or you can learn. Depending on that, then you go for the SAVI, to the volunteering unit over here. Tell them, okay, this is the unit which I want to work with. Okay, and then you start working with that unit. So you start volunteering with that unit. Okay, so initial what happens is before I will always recommend to people at least volunteer for 6 months to a year, or at least 6 months or a year, so that you get an idea and you work in different setups. As I told you guys before, you don't need any kind of degree or any kind of certificate to be over here. So depending on that, and you can choose. After serving for 6 months as a volunteer, then you can apply in Auroville as a newcomer. Okay, there's a next stage. So first is the guest, second is the volunteering, then you apply for the newcomer. So this newcomer period is the period where you say to the community that I am serious enough, I would love to join the community over here, and can I start with the process. So after, when you have contributed your 6 months or a year as a volunteer in Auroville, then you apply for newcomer. So in that time, then for the next what happens is Auroville will give you 2 mentors. One mentor you have to choose on your own from the community, and one mentor will be given by the Auroville entry service to you guys. Okay. Now in the newcomer period is for 1 year to 2 years. It depends. There is no fixed time to that. So in that 1 to 2 years, you need to be with your mentors. You need to work in a specific unit. The community will see how you are, how much you're contributing to the community. At the same time, you will also understand okay, what kind of community it is, and how you are feeling with the people over here, how you're feeling with the whole understanding, whole charter. And then after 1.5 to 2 years, then you will become an Aurovillian. Okay, so these are the stages. First, you become as a guest. You spend 1 or 2 months to understand, okay, how you're feeling, or at the same time, you can start as soon as you come. Then you become the volunteer. There's plenty of scope over here as a volunteer. You come, you decide. There is a place called SAVI. I will share all the links over here so that you can check it out. Then after that, after become volunteer, you become a newcomer, and after you become a newcomer, you can become a Aurovillian. There's also one more status over here, which is called Friends of Auroville. Even if you say like, okay, I cannot come and stay over here in Auroville, but I would love to be a part of Auroville, being anywhere around in the world, you can also become a Friends of Auroville in that way. Like, I want to contribute, I want to be a part of this community, but at the same time, I cannot stay inside. It's very important to get different status of Auroville on like how much you are staying inside Auroville. That's one thing which they highly recommend. Like when you are becoming an Auroville and after you become an Aurovillian, like you don't spend that much of time outside. You spend much more time to this community. This is the whole idea. If I have answered you, Benjamin and Jaga, and also at the same time, I'll be sharing the link over here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That
And it was
actually-
Ashley. Yeah, and
So-
I think Benjamin is next.
Yeah. So, Sneha, I think it was you who was talking about the mission, the various missions, or was it still Prat? Either of you. There were three different missions, and the first one was about exchange with the outside world, and the third one was about income generating initiatives. So what exactly is the difference? Because income generating will also be through exchange. So I was just curious about the difference between those two.
The exchange with the outside world could also be knowledge. It could also be experience. It could be resource people. You know, we send our experts outside and we have experts from outside coming in, or we've seen a good technology outside which we want to, you know, bring into Auroville, or we've developed something internally which we feel the world outside can benefit from. So it's sharing on all levels, not just financials, not just technology.
So some of that could be income generating, some of them not.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think this call can definitely be an example of that. They're not making an income through this, but they're sharing knowledge with us. Okay, thank you, Benjamin. I believe the next question goes to Yangla. Do you want to ask your question?
Hello, thanks for the sharing from all the brothers and sisters from Auroville village. I really learned a lot about your project, and especially I love the visions you shared at the beginning. And I'm from Life Chanyuan. Now I'm living in Life Chanyuan International Family Thailand branch. And I think we have quite the similar visions. View. Oh, okay, yeah. And I would like to make sure if the divine consciousness you shared is the same as I learned from Life Chanyuan about the greatest creator. So I want to know more about the divine consciousness and how can people serve the divine consciousness. Thank you.
Yeah, it's much better.
And at last, could you please speak a little bit slowly for me? Yes, thank you.
I think how it's been for us while growing up, I think we are least qualified to explain to you really what this consciousness, this divine consciousness means. And when we were growing up, we were always directed to, so Mother and Shubindu have written a lot about their philosophy. So we have like 30 volumes with their work. And if you're really interested to understand what they speak about, I think the best that I could answer would be to direct you towards their writings, and would encourage you to actually read what they have to say, because I think what I was able to summarize is what we in our capacity can actually explain and can share. The rest is really about your personal experience and understanding of what they are saying. So as I mentioned, it's not a religion. It's not about, you know, you have to do this and you have to not do that. It's more a way of life, and we working towards something which is beyond what man is today. And it's about manifesting that, preparing ourselves internally and as a collective to manifest that next rung of evolution. So I guess if I were to really do justice, I would stop here.
But as Sneha is saying, we can share some of the links for you to read a bit about it and give you much more detailed understanding.
What is Auroville? What is this
Divine consciousness?
This divine consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, it's not that this work can happen only in Auroville. It can happen anywhere. It just needs that dense group of people who all believe in that philosophy and who are working consciously towards that. And Auroville being that community, or at least aspires to be that community, it's not that it doesn't have the problems of the world. Every problem that exists in the world exists in Auroville. And the idea is that, you know, we work it out here, and if we can work it out here, it will work, it will get worked out in the world. So it's that's the effort. So because we are the same people.
Thank you. I would like to read about that. I'm really interested in this. And thanks again for your sharing. You really have good visions and have done good job, and you're all great people here. Thank you for your sharing.
Thank you,
glad.
Yang. Yeah, and we will pass all of the links and sharing after this call from Auroville and Green Practices to you all. And our 2 hours together has also come to an end. And I noticed that there's a few questions have not been addressed yet. So my proposal now is that we're still gonna close our official part of 2 hours now. And then I would love to check if Pratu, Sneha, Auropremi, and Devi, if you are available to stay like 10 or 15 more minutes, then those who are keen can stay a bit more to catch up on the rest of the questions. And then we have a proper close after. But for now, those who already or only set aside 2 hours for this call, if you have to leave, we would understand and you're welcome to leave. I just invite you to maybe before you leave, put in the chat one thing that you are leaving this call with. Could be anything that comes up for you, emotion, thoughts, maybe appreciation. You can put all of that in the chat for our friends who've shared today. And Luvian from GENOA will also share with you in the chat how you can keep in touch with us for upcoming calls like this or other activities. And yeah, let's just take a minute or two to share what it's alive in you right now, what you're leaving this call with in the chat. And quickly want to check with Pratu and Sneha if do you have other engagement after this, or can you stay for another 10, 15 minutes?
10 minutes? Are you guys okay with that?
I think 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, 10 more minutes. We will wait for our tea. This is our tea time.
Oh, tea time. Yeah, we don't want to encroach your tea time too much.
Yeah, and also as we had discussed, if from this community call, there are any very specific areas which the community would want to know more in detail about, it could be the sustainability angle, it could be the different activities, it could be education, whatever interest is there. And if we are told, maybe we could come back with another webinar with the real experts on the ground, and we could help get that organized also.
Yes, exactly.
We have given a broad overview of what Auroville is, what Auroville Consulting is, and now it's whatever is the appetite.
Thank you. And yeah, maybe you can put that in your sharing in the chat too, if there's any topics you would like to follow up with, especially in the call today, something really interests you and you would like to dive in more. Please put that in the chat as well, so we can, if we sense that there are a lot of interests, we will work together with AGP to set up another session.
I think Bridge over here have a question.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let everyone share in the chat first, and then we have the extend the 10 minutes after but you can maybe take some time to just read the appreciation that people are putting in the chat, appreciating the richness of the cultural life in Auroville. Look forward to visiting, and already some interest to come as a guest or volunteer. And thank you so much for sharing your inspiring stories. Okay. All right. So I think once again, if you have to leave, we completely understand, and we wish you a happy weekend. Oh, no, sorry, week. A happy week. This is the first day of the week. I forgot. And yeah, let's go to our next running of questions. Brich, do you want to unmute and ask?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to park on the side once. So my question was that I had written to Friends of Auroville about 2 years ago in 2020. And yeah, we didn't get any reply. They had asked us to write a long essay about us to become Friends of Auroville. So I just wanted to know how does it work if you don't get a reply to your mails?
Yeah. So
what's the next thing to do?
So because I think you said like you have mailed in 2020, right?
Yeah.
So at the time for the last in the lockdown time in that specific period of time for 1.5 years, the entry service of Auroville was not working all the time. They were we were closed for 6 to 8 months in between the total lockdown and all. So I will just ask you if you can just mail them again and tell them a bit I started my conversation 2 years back, but because of something it never went through. So if you can just simply answer, I think now they are in total force, and I think it's good time to answer your queries over there.
Okay, great. So that's all. We just resend, or we send to another mailbox?
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I also feel the NT service prefers to meet in person, especially if they haven't met you in person.
Right.
So
should we just come in person? Because I'm just 6 hours from Auroville. I'm in Bangalore, and we keep coming to Auroville or that side for something. So which office should we go to sort of check what's happening?
So that's what. So when you, I don't think so. It will be they meet without appointment in that entry service. So I will highly recommend you first to email them and tell them okay, we are also planning to come to Auroville, and if it's possible, we would love to come and meet you in person. But they will always appreciate the mail first, because it's not a place where we can walk in just like that. And yeah, so it will be easier. Just send them the mail, and if they didn't reply to the email, send them twice or thrice so that they see the email and they reply to it. You know how it works, right?
Right. Okay. Thanks.
No worries.
Thank you, Brich, and thank you, Pratu and Sneha. There was 2 unanswered questions in the chat, one from me and one from Amina. My question was for Auropremi, Devi, and Pratu. Not necessarily all of you have to answer, of course, but I'm curious, as you are, I think all 3 of you are the 3rd generations in, Sneha is not?
Devi and Premi.
Yeah, okay. But I think this also can apply for Sneha. My question is, why did you decide to come back to Auroville? What makes you come back? Is it because of the good stories about Auroville, or is there any other deeper driver that brought you back to Auroville after you study outside?
I think even
Oh, you need to unmute, Devi.
Yeah. So I think, even while we were growing up, I think most of us do feel that someday we will be back here, giving back to the community. And I think the reason we step out is so that we see the world, we get the exposure and knowledge from outside, and we bring it again back to Auroville, because that is quite needed as we are a small community growing. And we feel that it's our responsibility as youth to go out, explore, and bring what the outside world has, bring it back to Auroville. So I think that's what brings us back again after we are exploring. And many people find a home in Auroville, and I would say most do. So I think if we can at some point come back, I think that's what should be happening everywhere, because the childhood and the environment that our home provides us is something that we always do tend to come back to. I think it's the same, I would say, for us also.
I'm gonna agree with Devi, and as she said, Auroville was always, the safe space, or to say it's been the home where we're comfortable, and it's our, like, it gives a sense that it's our place and it's our thing in a whole. And we've always had a strong notion to, always serving back to the community. So that has always been there throughout, like, schooling and whenever we stepped out also. So I think that also plays a major part to it.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if Pratu, Sneha, you wanna add anything, as you also lived there and
Yeah.
left and come back?
So I think I resonate with what Devi and Premi said, that having grown up in an environment like this, it's important for us to go see the world outside. But eventually, deep down, this project Auroville, this dream is something that's very close to our hearts. And coming back and contributing and participating in this project is probably one of the most special things that we can ever think about, right? Because we've grown up in this environment, and we understand what, or at least this dream is something that is very close to us. So if we can be there to actually make it happen, that's, I would say, one of the most beautiful things for us.
And Tao, as I was telling you before, I travel around the world, I go to different communities and all, but somehow Auroville is the only community, or is the only place in the world which I'm coming back from last 18 years. I have not visited any other place as many times, or as many. Somehow this place had that energy. What they have done in last 54 years over here is amazing. And the people, the whole atmosphere, the whole environment over here, like, just imagine, like, as soon as you step out of Auroville, like, even if you go 10 kilometers or like 20 kilometers from here, you can feel the difference, not only in terms of energy, or not only in terms of people working together with everything. And it's somehow like, given a chance, I will always just come back to this place, like, whenever possible. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. And I drop a follow-up question in the chat, but you can just type in the chat, because I want to spend the last few minutes we have for the last question from Amina. Amina, would you like to open your mic and share your question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone, especially the brothers and sisters from Auroville. So my question is, I think maybe not a question, but just maybe an opportunity to collectively heal the current stories of Auroville. And we've heard a lot about Auroville in the news, especially in the eco-village community, and in India also, about the tensions around the Crown Road, the environmental disruption, also the governance conflicts. And for me, I think the inquiry right now is not asking for a solution, but just reaching out and sensing how you four feel about it. And do you feel like I do? I know that conflict is part of consciousness evolution. And I know this is a part of Auroville's journey, but given that you are young hearts and full of courage, what is your personal participation in this journey? Is there some, or you feel that there is a larger energy governing this? So, and feel free not to answer, but I'm just, I speak to a lot of friends all the time who are connected deeply to Auroville, and we have these personal conversations, and I feel a community call feels incomplete to touch upon something that's so fresh and vulnerable in Auroville and so evolutionary. And I also have a lady here called Mona. I recently visited her farm in Panchgani in Maharashtra, and her daughter lives in Auroville. Her name is Natasha. And I spent over an hour listening to, Mona's experience and then Natasha's extended experience through Mona. And my wish is just to, I think, heal some narratives here from your personal experience. So if you feel the energy, please go ahead. Otherwise, yeah, we could help end on a happy celebratory note for Auroville.
I will like what I feel from all of us. In fact, this is something which is like you cannot see Auroville as a utopia, right? Like what's happening in the world. It's a reflection of what's happening in the world, and what's how we see things from different perspectives. So with the current dispute or with the current environment which we have in Auroville about all the things which is happening around with the Crown Road and all, it's a beautiful, I will say in fact, like this, because of that, like so many people are coming together. They are voicing like, okay, what they feel or how they feel about the opinion. Like somehow what happens is like what I've understood from the pioneers of Auroville and all these people who have lived in different stages in Auroville in last 50 years. The best part was like every decade they have seen something or the other, like something which was really very disturbing, and at the same time which was really challenging all the dream and charter of Auroville. And somehow they we have all kind of came together and and sorted out the difference, or even if we are not able to sort it out the difference, we have always moved further with this. And this is what, as a youth of Auroville, all of us, we believe like, okay, this is what is right now. It's a very important topic which we are figuring out about the development, about how we feel about the green, about the forest, about how we see the infrastructure, how we see the government. So this is a beautiful learning for young people like us over here to understand things from different perspectives. So we will not jump any gun over here, like who is right, who is wrong, or how we are going towards it and all. But this is a beautiful learning which we are getting over here. We are also seeing different emotions. There are so many different emotions when you are living over here for so many years. So we are respecting that. At the same time, we are not taking any, we will not say like, okay, this is the side which we are inclining towards and all. We have friends in both the sides. We understand their perspective. We understand their own things and all. And it's a beautiful journey, very frankly. We are learning so much. And at the same time, because of that, so many people which we have not seen in so many years, they all are coming out. They all are coming together. And we are able to learn a lot. So I think all of us agree to that. We are learning a lot with this, and how we are going ahead with this. So I mean, I think this is all I can answer for now.
And
yeah.
And if I can just add something, what Amina, you were saying that
our Devi is frozen for us.
Yeah.
Just give it a minute. So I think this will be our last question and answer.
So we have two spiritual leaders, and it is very hard, even with the leader, to follow the rules or have no mistakes or perfection. I don't think we're there yet. So without a physical leader present and guiding us, I think it's a huge experiment, and this attracts a lot of conflict. And the fact that we are moving forward and just to count our blessings and keep the positive things going forward is what we are doing now, what we're focusing on. And I think that is what should be seen, and just blossom all the goodness that there is, and automatically I think the negatives or the conflicts, they will resolve on their own. Because as I said, we don't have one single way to go about anything, not a single person directing that this is what we should do, this is how we should be followed. So we have everything in our writings from the Mother and Sri Aurobindo, and I think that is our one soul guiding path. And if each one of us sticks to that, I think there will be no problems.
Thank you, Devi.
Yeah, and I think like Pratul mentioned, this is not the first time Auroville is going through a conflict. It has happened in the past before, and I guess we should. I mean, I consider myself fortunate to be around at a time like this because the amount of learning that is there, and the amount we are pushed to actually question ourselves as to why we are here and what drives us. The clarity that is emerging for me personally, I mean, leave the community out, but for me personally, by seeing the things around, it just reinforces the why of what I am doing and inspires me to, keep going on the path that I've chosen. So I think that's how it is, and that we shouldn't run away from conflict because conflict is part of life.
I see that Mona has her hand up, and before you share, Mona, I just want to say that I want to also honor the commitment of our time, and I also don't want to open anything without closing it. And especially, I know this is a topic that deserves a lot more time and depth to it. So I would love to also, I would love to hear from you too, Mona, but also just a note that we would also love to kind of bring this to a close so we can all leave this conversation with a sense of closure. Yeah, to you, Mona.
Thank you, Kin. So I'll just keep it short. And maybe since this does need and deserve more time, maybe we could have another meeting if people feel it's worth it and if the network that has organized this wants to do it. So my question was that how much honor is given to the elected body of the resident committee and their decisions? Is it honored? That's my question. And maybe it'll take time to answer.
Yeah. Mona, I like seriously, this is something which we can talk for hours because there is not one single answer I can give to this because everyone have their own understanding of RA, Resident Assembly over here, and which are the elected bodies, which are not the elected bodies and all. So I think it is possible we can take this question further, like in the next time or something. Because this will really take a long time.
Because it's also elected by whom, honored by whom. There are so many questions that are more connected to it, right? So.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Mona, for your question and for opening maybe an opportunity for us to dive deeper, next space together. Okay, I really feel like we cannot stretch the generosity of our friends with their time and effort any longer. So I would love to bring our call today to an end now, but please reach out to us if you have an idea for next call, any topic that you really want to see and or hear from our friends from AGP. So we can maybe talk to each other and organize the next call in the next few months. And thank you so much, Pratu, Sneha. I think Auropremi and Devi probably are still in the room, so I would love to say thanks to them too. Thank you all so much. And thank you everyone for staying up until this time, and feel free to open your mic, open your camera to say thanks and say goodbye. And thank you to all of the patience, sharing and understanding.
Thank you so much, guys. It was an honor.